alcoholic's what made you quit drinking? In my case, it was almost putting the lives of 348 people at risk. I'm a pilot, and while I was still drinking, I always made sure to follow one strict rule for myself: never mix alcohol in work, never fly after drinking. I convinced myself that as long as I followed that rule to the letter, everything was under control and that I had no problem with alcohol. But as you can imagine, one night I was scheduled for a night flight and showed up completely drunk. I won't lie, it wasn't the first time I had flown under the influence, but this time things were very different. I wasn't in my right mind. I wish I could explain what went through my head to make me think that was acceptable. I think at that moment, I had hit rock bottom to the point where, as absurd as it sounds, I didn't care anymore whether I was fit to fly or not. I hated my life so much that honestly, it didn't matter. I just let it happen. I know it's horrible. After all, we're talking about other people's lives, but that's the plain truth. No one had ever noticed when I showed up drunk before, but this time a new gate agent caught me right at the entrance. Even so, I managed to board. Since she was new at the airport, she didn't really know what to do at the moment, but I knew that sooner or later she would report me and that I was in serious trouble. After takeoff, I overheard two flight attendants whispering about what had happened, and that's when I was sure my situation was bad. I spent the entire flight trying to come up with a way out. The only idea I had was to land the plane earlier than scheduled, hoping that whoever was waiting for me hadn't arrived yet, and that maybe arriving in the middle of the night would save me. So I pushed the throttle as much as I could. I managed to land everyone safely, and as soon as the passengers disembarked, I ran off the plane. I didn't grab my luggage, didn't take anything from the cockpit. I just disappeared. I wasn't scheduled for the next 3 days, so I spent that whole time hiding. My phone was flooded with messages from ANAC, but I ignored them all. And to be honest, what did I do? I drank. I drank nonstop. But at least I had the good sense to stop in time to pass the breathalyzer test that I knew I'd have to take when I returned. Because even though I was thinking of quitting everything, I knew that if I lost my job, I wouldn't have any way to keep drinking. On the day of my next flight, I went to work sober, with my heart pounding. I put on a smile and pretended everything was fine. Of course, I was stopped and questioned by ANAC right away, but I had already prepared an excuse. I said I had food poisoning, that I had to rush to the bathroom as soon as I got off the plane, and that I spent the whole weekend in bed without even checking my phone. You could tell they didn't really buy the story, but they did the breathalyzer test. Everything came out fine, and since they had no proof, in the end, they only gave me a warning for not following some post-flight procedures. In the end, no one was hurt, and I didn't lose my job. So why did I stop drinking? Because when I walked out of that disciplinary meeting, I realized that my biggest fear all along wasn't losing my job. And up there, my fear wasn't dying or causing the death of hundreds of people either. What truly terrified me was being arrested and not being able to drink. When the possibility of losing access to alcohol weighs more than the risk of causing an accident with a plane full of people, there's no way to keep lying to yourself. I wish I could say my recovery was easy from that point on, but I can guarantee that I never flew again without being sober after that day. And I've been clean for 8 years now, both in the air and on solid ground. I'm grateful every single day for my sobriety and for whoever protected me, along with all those passengers that night.